I want to know what happens when you take a full-size camera lens and connect it to the front of an action camera. And I'm going to do this with a Insta360 Ace Pro. Let's see if it works. I'm gonna go shoot some test footage and see what this looks like. Now, the first thing I noticed right away when filming with this setup is that super shallow depth of field and blurry background that you get when you focus on objects that are close to the camera. I'm using a 24mm f2.8, so it gives you that shallow depth of field. However, while this would typically be a wide-angle camera lens, because there's such a small sensor in this action camera, it's giving it a huge crop. So instead of a 24mm equivalent, we're ending up with something closer to like 75. Typically, this camera would have really good image stabilization, but as soon as you switch out the lenses, you lose all of that. So this footage is pretty shaky, even though I'm trying my best to hold the camera still. Another thing that's happening here is this purple vignette around the outside edges of the footage. And I thought this was infrared light at first, but after doing a bunch of research, I figured out that if it was infrared light, the purple color would be even across the entire video. But in this scenario, we actually have pretty nice looking colors in the middle of the video. So I'm kind of confused as to what is causing this. If you think you know what it is, definitely leave a comment. I did try color grading some of this footage, which did help reduce the purple color a little bit, but I was never able to get rid of it entirely, and I certainly wasn't able to actually reproduce the correct colors that should be there. So that didn't really end up being a perfect solution either. Well, the crop factor of this tiny sensor is a pretty big disadvantage when trying to shoot wide shots. I can actually use this to my advantage if I'm trying to zoom in, because it's going to add extra zoom to any lens that I pair it with. And after connecting this to my Canon 75-300, I was actually able to capture some unique shots that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to get using this same lens on any of my other cameras, just because the small sensor cropped in a whole bunch and added a lot of extra zoom. I've been having a lot of fun working on this ridiculous little camera setup, but well, modifying the Insta360 Ace Pro with a full-size camera lens has proven to be possible. That doesn't mean I would actually recommend it. If you just take the camera and stick it behind this lens, now you have two lenses that are trying to do the same job at the same time, and you don't actually get an image. So first, I need to get rid of all of the lenses in here so that it's just the camera sensor at the back that's left. And then this lens can actually do its job and focus the light in on the sensor. This is probably a really bad idea, but I'm just gonna see what happens here. The lens filter on the original Ace Pro is not designed to be removed, but apparently it can be. These little screws are not wanting to come out. I'm gonna have to take things to the next level. This camera is really not designed to be taken apart. I can actually see the sensor in there. At this point, I'm just curious if this even still turns on. So I'm gonna put the battery in and try to power it up. Oh yeah. Tearing apart your camera like this is pretty risky and definitely irreversible. So because of that, I'm unfortunately not going to be sharing the 3D print files for this project. However, I've made plenty of successful and well-polished 3D printed camera mods and camera accessories that you can print for yourself, and you can learn more about those in this video right here, and I'll see you over there.